these sorcerers or astrologers. They might very well have been Zoroastrian priests. These people are seeking after Jesus with their whole hearts. They are looking for Jesus with everything that they have. And meanwhile, the Jewish religious leaders, who should have been sprinting to Bethlehem at the first sign of Messiah, are assembling at Herod's court instead. They're going to Herod instead of Jesus. And Herod, who is supposed to be responsible for the Jews, who's supposed to be caring for them and ruling them, instead, he is plotting a baby-killing rampage to protect his own power. It's like we read about in John 1, the true light that gives light to everyone was coming into the world. He came to that which was his own, to the religious leaders, to Herod, but his own did not receive him. But yet to all who did receive him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God. So we are sitting in a covenant church this morning, and the covenant church sprung up as part of the Pietist renewal movement that was sweeping through Lutheran churches in Northern Europe in the 17 and 1800s. And Pietists were people who, they have a reputation of being pretty nice and tolerant, maybe a little bit legalistic, but they were pretty chill. They did not like all those religious wars Europe had just been through. They were kind of done with all that. But these were largely people who were fed up with people who called themselves Christians, which was most of Northern Europe at that time, not acting anything like Jesus, not acting anything like Christ. And the Pietists thought that it wasn't enough to be born into the church, because in those days it just meant being born into a certain country. You were born in Norway, or you were born in Germany, or you were born in Sweden and you were a Lutheran. That wasn't enough. After all, Herod was technically a Jew. Where you were born, what you were born into, that does not matter. They also believed that it wasn't enough to just have some water sprinkled on your head, or receive communion a couple times a year, or give intellectual assent to the Apostles' Creed. After all, the religious leaders who gave Jesus up had all the right religious credentials too. Now, Pietists didn't believe that you had to work your way into heaven or anything like that. They were still Lutherans for the most part, and they were very clear on the fact that God had done all the work. God had done the work. There was nothing that we could do to create our own salvation in any way, shape, or form. But Pietists did believe, and still do believe, that how we respond to God matters. How we respond to what God reveals to us about what he's doing, how we respond matters. And everyone has to make that choice for ourselves. Our parents can't respond to God for us. Our spouses can't respond to God for us. Our friends can't respond to God for us. We all have to make a decision about how we're going to respond to what God has shown us. And we're not just talking about a one-time deal here. Sometimes we get into that thought of, okay, we just, pray the magic prayer, we procure the fire insurance, and bang, we're good to go. That's actually the mindset that the Pietists were reacting against. Because even though we're not saved by works, following Jesus should make a difference in our lives. If we have a relationship with Jesus, that means that we are saying yes to Jesus again and again and again. And it also means that when we say no to Jesus, because, do you guys ever say no to Jesus? I know I do. I don't want to, but we all do, right? We all sin. We all mess up. But if we are in a relationship with Jesus, that personal relationship that we like to talk about, that means that when we say no to Jesus, when there's something not right in our relationship, that we wrestle with that. and that hopefully we're going to seek reconciliation. We want to stay in right relationship with Jesus. You know, kind of, I think about those marriages where like one partner has just put up a wall and stopped thinking about or caring about their spouse's thoughts or feelings. Sometimes we do that in our relationship with Jesus, right? But we don't want to stay there. We don't want to stay in a relationship with Jesus. It's just kind of a relationship in name only. We want to actually follow Jesus, even if following Jesus means letting go of some stuff that we'd rather not let go of. It requires some sacrifice on our part. You know, I can't help but wonder what the Magi had to give up once they had found Jesus. We know that they brought these